Hi, I'm Dr. David Vargas again here with Dr. Brian, biological dentist, respiration expert, and we're just sharing a little bit how this can relate to kids also. But I also want to talk a little bit about how we get these first subluxations, these first misalignments in our body, and some of them can actually start from birth.
Absolutely.
From the birth process. You know, if you're tugging on that kid's head, or if they have to use forceps or other things like that, that's causing a lot of pressure. So we're finding that, you know, I just saw a study out of like 1,000 kids that were checked. There was 80% of them that had subluxations or misalignments in their spine that were actually most likely affecting their respiration also.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you go into a little bit more detail about that?
Yes, very much, thank you. And I'm a little long-winded, so bear with me on this one because children are near and dear to me, and if we can catch this early, you can prevent a lifetime of struggling. So when a child is born, just the difference between a natural birth versus, say, a cesarean, or when the physician tries to speed things up. When the baby comes through the birth canal, those contractions turn on the cranial respiration. The bones in our head are supposed to pump our cerebrospinal fluid. So they can pull the baby and create a subluxation, or if the baby is not delivered through a natural birth, what happens is because the brain doesn't function that way, our cranial bones don't do this, the baby is going to have to learn to turn its head in order to try to function properly, and it's going to create a misalignment. The other thing that's so important is the way the baby then is fed. Breastfeeding and bottle feeding are two different things. Breastfeeding is suckling, bottle feeding is sucking. Suckling grows your face. It's harder for the baby to nurse from mom than it is from a bottle, but that struggle actually develops the face and muscles. When a baby is suckling, they can nurse and breathe at the same time. When you give a baby a bottle, no matter what type of nipple is designed, the baby has to suck. And when they suck, they're pulling these muscles and they're constricting the growth of the face. And also that you have to stop to let them breathe. You notice babies that are breastfed, you don't have to burp near as much as babies that are bottle fed.
Okay.
So if you're a natural birth and you take your time and you go through the birth canal, those contractions will turn on the cerebrospinal, the cranial respiration pump, and allows for the proper of the neck. And then also, if you're breastfed, if you're bottle fed, totally different.
And that's so why it's so important to have a natural childbirth whenever possible, because that actually going through that birth canal actually affects those cranial bones and actually helps them to work properly. So if they don't have that process, not only that, but the overall health of the child is affected when they don't go through the birth canal, like a cesarean birth. Because what happens is when they go through the birth canal, they actually swallow some of the fluid from the mother that actually helps with their immune system. That's how they get their natural immune system to start with, is from swallowing some of that, actually some of the feces from the mother.
Yes, I try to think of it as mother-approved probiotics.
Right.
She's giving the baby.
They're giving those probiotics, so when they don't get those probiotics from the mother, that causes all kinds of reactions and chain reactions with their immune system and their overall health.
Yes.
So now you talked a little bit about when they're suckling, or when they're actually sucking rather than suckling.
Yes.
So you can actually see these physical changes in their skull.
Yes.
Like you can see that when a baby's been either breastfed or bottle fed.
And you know, I realize not everybody's in a position where they can breastfeed. One thing you have to look at is the underneath the tongue, there's a little string, a ligament. And if it's very strong and it doesn't allow the baby to lift the tongue out, that needs to be clipped so the baby can get a good latch. If the baby can't get a good latch, you look for this thing called tongue tie. It's real easy to correct. Ideally, it's done with a laser, but not everybody has a laser. Midwives, lots of times, will just snip it right then and there. Good deal. So they can't. Other times, maybe the mom can't produce the milk, maybe she has to work, and you have to do the bottle. So then you've got to be able to correct that at an early age through exercises and making sure that the child is not sensitive to any foods or something in their environment. Because if they have inflammation, what's so amazing, no matter where that is in the body, it shows up in the nose. There's tissue in the nose called erectile tissue that will swell up. When that swells up, it's harder to breathe through your nose, so you're going to naturally open your mouth. Your tongue comes off the roof of your mouth, and then because the tongue is resting now on the floor of the mouth, the upper jaw doesn't develop. The upper jaw development determines facial development. All craniofacial growth and development are related to the upper jaw. So if you see a child just by removing the toxins in their life, whether it's foods or their environment, mold in the house, they can now breathe through their nose. Their tongue will force the jaw to grow like it's supposed to grow, and can correct for some problems early on.
Yeah, well,
Much harder to
I think
correct.
that's also important because, I think I shared with you my story.
Yes, tell us.
Is that, when I was a kid, I was, just miserable trying to sleep at night, where I would have to turn from side to side because my sinuses were so clogged up that I could not breathe. And so I was breathing through my mouth, and I'm sure that caused all kinds of problems. I would go, my parents doing the best that they could at the time, took me to the doctor. He'd give me antibiotics, which destroyed my immune system and my gut, which had affected me for many, many, many years. And it was just a whole chain reaction. So, what I'm trying to say though is they were not getting to the cause of the problem.
Right.
Because my cause of the problem was that I was drinking dairy. And a lot of people with dark eyes and dark hair, among the other people too, have dairy issues. So here we had 4 gallons of milk in the refrigerator at all times. I drink it like water. I don't think I even drink a lot of water. So that affected my sinuses, affected my ability to sleep. I wasn't sleeping, so I wasn't able to be awake at school and to be alert at school as well as I could. Not only that, but like I said, all the antibiotics really affected my system and caused a chain reaction for many, many years, and I'm still dealing with some of those right now, but luckily I'm doing much better now. Good. So, we want to just help other kids so we can actually get to the root cause of the problems. A lot of times if they have chronic ear issues, chronic tonsil issues, it can be from this mouth breathing, but it can also be part of that. Why they're doing that is because they have all these sinus issues.
That's right.
And that can come to the gut issues. So check out our next actually program, our next event on gut brain health, because it really affects everything, not only kids but adults. And I think there'll be a lot of great information that you can find and help yourself and help others. So look forward to seeing you again soon, and next video we'll see you then. Thanks.